So my first project using GIS was calculating the potential of agrivoltaics in South Korea. So basically, what is agrivoltaics and why is it important in Korea? So basically, as most of you will know, South Korea's land area, it's a very small country, ranking 108th in terms of total land area. And also from this, so even it being a small country, 70% of the land area is the mountainous region. So the cost of solar generation in Korea is significantly high due to the high cost of land at around, according to KEEI, it's $111 per megawatt hour, which is very high compared to much cheaper countries in ranging around $34 to $49. I think Dr. Hong once told me the cost of, it was very cheap in Australia. I think it was like a third of the cost compared to Korea. So basically, yes, so it's very expensive in Korea. So also as a global trend, all governments around the world, they want to implement more renewables because of the environmental impact it has. So in the case of Korea, they also want to increase the implement of solar PV in Korea and shift to a decentralized energy grid. So it's necessary for Korea to maximize efficiency of use for the land for implementing solar PV. So this is where agrivoltaics comes in. So agrivoltaics, it's the dual usage of land between solar energy generation and agriculture. And it resolves conflicts of interest between producing food and producing energy. And it enhances land usage efficiency, especially for countries with small land, like Korea. So agrivoltaics is considered as a viable strategy for implementing solar PV. So the research objectives that were in the project is to identify the potential area feasible for agrivoltaics in Korea. And further from that, we also compared with regional demand to see if the electricity demand of specific areas can be satisfied with agrivoltaics. And also, we identified substations with excess capacity within transmission grid, which can be used to link the demand side with the supply side. But for today's sessions, because we're focusing on GIS, I'll mostly talk about the first part, the first objective. Yes. So as for the methodology, we used regional land characteristics data. Sorry if the English translation is not correct. I tried to translate it as best I could, but basically this is the Korean term. So we extracted features which are classified as farms, paddies, and orchards. So basically areas which are used for agriculture. And from that vector layer, we subtracted various regulations regarding agrivoltaics installation. So these are some of the, I summarized the regulations here. And basically, like what Dr. Hong mentioned earlier, I used difference between, so I subtracted from this layer to these regulations. So in a total, I think it was 20-something layers I subtracted from. And I want you to look, especially, I highlighted this distances from road regulation. So it's what this regulation means is from the road, you can't install within, say, for instance, 100 meters from the road and stuff like that. So the reason I treated this separately from other regulations is because it's not properly legislated, and it's very different across various municipal areas. So this is the most easiest regulation for the government to abolish. And also, I wanted to, like I said earlier, I wanted to talk about agricultural promotion areas. So these are areas which are legislated only for the usage of agriculture. There is a bit more detail, but basically some areas you can't install solar PV at all, or some places you can temporarily install it for up to for a maximum of 8 years. So policymakers, they want to change this, and so they want to change this. So I calculated this separately between agricultural promotion areas and others. So by using intersection, I tried to calculate agricultural promotion areas which are not affected by regulation. The reason I cross this out, I'll talk about this later on, but basically it took a very long time for the intersection to happen. So instead, I actually used difference, but I'll talk about that later on. And then from the area which is not affected by regulations, I use the difference to find areas which are not agricultural promotion areas at all. So I created 3 layers for both agricultural promotion areas and those that are not. So I classified them as other. So the S2 layers, these are the ones that I only removed buildings and road features. And then S3, from S2, I subtracted, so I removed all regulated areas, so all regulations, except the one I highlighted, the distance from road regulation. So, and then from S4, I removed so I removed the distance from road regulation also. And yeah, so that's S4. And the results are, so these are for the agricultural promotion areas. As you can see, as it progresses further on, there's less areas which agrivoltaics can be installed for agricultural promotion areas. And this is the case for the others. As you can see also, as we subtract more and more layers, it looks a bit more, there's less areas. So as you can see, like from these layers, there's significant potential for installing solar PV through agrivoltaics. So this is like the area calculated from these layers, but even with like all the regulations implemented, there's still like quite a high area mass that's where agrivoltaics can be installed. So for about 2,328 square kilometers for agricultural promotion areas and 2,831 square kilometers for other areas. And also, you can see that abolishment of unnecessary regulations, especially the distance from roads regulations, can strengthen the such potentials. So even if I just got rid of the different distance from roads regulations, you can see that the area increases very significantly. And based on this, so when I compared this with electricity demand, sorry, I need to say. So about 14.44% of electricity demand in South Korea can be satisfied with agrivoltaics, and this number can be increased significantly to 43.34% if the road regulation is abolished. So in fact, some rural areas can fully be sustainable regarding electricity demand, but there are some barriers to these regulations. So we need to see if there's sufficient capacity to channel this electricity. So generating electricity is obviously one thing, but sending it to the consumer is another. So I also checked on research. So I also checked on the numbers regarding excess capacity in the substations, but there was not enough capacity in total for this new potential to be met, to be sent to the demand. So the need for building additional infrastructure for areas with no excess capacity. Oh, so there was also rural areas where there was no excess capacity at all. And also, so there needs to be there's need for building additional infrastructure for areas with no excess capacity. And also, this is just a policy implication. So it's a support from farmers is needed to implement agrivoltaics. So people who are actual farmers, they say that agrivoltaics, it covers the sun for the so it prohibits agricultural growth. So it because it covers up the sun. So proper consultation is needed for this. So that was the part regarding for the so this is what I did as the analysis for the analysis. So before I wrap this up, I didn't use as much time as I thought. I wanted to talk about a few useful tips from an amateur's perspective. So has everyone downloaded the data, like for those who want to do with me? So this is what I learned through using GIS as an analysis tool. So first tip I want to give to you is, from week 5, yes. So the first tip I want to give to you is you should, after you download your data, you should definitely check it. So I think like data provided is far from perfect. It may contain some mistakes. So as a example, I brought the land characteristics data for the Gyeongbuk province. So I just put it earlier. So if you could also upload the layer onto GIS. Thank you. But yeah, my English, it's been quite a while since I've actually presented, so I am quite stuttering a lot. So if you've uploaded, I mean, it might take a lot of time for the layer to upload because this is quite a large data set. Has everyone who wanted to participate uploaded, or? Yeah, I could imagine. So as you can see, like it renders very slow even for my laptop because it's a very big data set. But it's okay. As it's uploading, I'll just show you like, so this is basically for those who are familiar with Korean geography, this is where 전라북도, so it's 전북 Mac OS. Yeah, sure, I'll upload it. Hang on. It's in the week 5 folder, but I'll just send the link again. Right, week 5 example files. What's Mac OS X? Sorry, as you can see, although I had like 4 months of experience regarding GIS, I'm still very non-professional. I'm not really an expert on it, so. Oh, right.
It looks like huge.
I thought it was a technological GIS something.
Yeah.
But anyway, I could just show it to you anyway. It's not really a big thing, this. I'm not going to do any processing in this one. So basically, I just wanted to show that the region here is 전라북도, which is 전북. But as you can see, like some of the features here, like it's out of place. Like this is Chungcheong area, province, whatever you like to say it. But obviously, like the data itself is very far from perfect. But regarding its effects on the research itself, because out of like 1.5 million features, it was only 30 to 40 features that was out of sync. So technically, I consider it to be negligible. But in your case, like the data itself might be so even if you downloaded the data, you should always like check it to see if it's like properly organized, because it might, create problems in the future when you're doing analysis. So the second one, which I think would be more useful and it's actually more practical, I'll get into it, is always check validity. So even if the data itself is okay and it's correct, 8 out of 10 vector layers, they will always have various issues. So if they have such issues, the geoprocessing tools, like the ones Dr. Hong explained, intersection, difference, they will not work if these issues exist. So there's this feature called check validity, which can help find these issues. And then if such issues exist, there's also another function called fix geometries. It automatically fixes the vector layer if such issues exist. So if you find it a hassle to check validity, I always had the habit of just skipping straight to fixed geometries anyway, because usually the vector layers themselves always had problems. So I'll also show this as an example. So I also uploaded this base map and base TID layer. If you could also upload these to your GIS tool program. I'll wait for a minute or two because we have a lot of time. Yeah, just thumbs up if you've already uploaded it. Not to worry. Oh, also, like for comparison, you might want to upload what do you call this? The map. So I just uploaded the OSM map for Korea for like better comparison. I mean, you can always try this later on because I've uploaded the examples on the Google Drive. I just wanted to in case, yeah. So I'm pretty sure Dr. Hong will teach you this later on, but let's try the difference function regarding these two layers. So basically it's subtracting. So if you do like this, so go to vector, and then there's geoprocessing tools. And then you'll find all these functions like intersection, difference. This is what you'll use a lot regarding research for using GIS. So have you found it? Okay, thank you. So in the difference, it will show up like this. So on the input layer, we'll put base map. And for the overlay layer, we'll put base TID. This is, so base map, I forgot to explain what these layers are. So base map is basically, it's just like the map vector layer showing the entire area of Korea. And base TID, it represents the mud flat map, 갯벌, mud flat, something. Anyway, so basically, if we try and subtract this, so click run, and it will definitely show that there's a feature has an invalid geometry. So please fix the geometry, or it'll definitely show an error like this. Okay, so what we do from this, so why has this happened is because there's an invalid geometry in the base TID layer. So how to check this is you can erase this difference layer. It's not necessary. So the two ways of finding this check validity function, one way is you could go to the processing toolbox if it's on your GIS, and then search for check validity, and it will show up like this. So if you click on it, it will show up like this. Have you found it? Any reactions, people? Or for another way you can find it, it's in the, so where you found the geoprocessing tools and vector, instead go to geometry tools, and you can find check validity here. Yes, thank you, Alpha. So it shows up like this, and you can check, so put the layer you want to check the validity with, and then if you run it, it will show the outputs that are valid and the output that's invalid and the error itself. So basically, out of the 600 and 500, so no, wait, no, 6,585 features here are valid, so it's okay. But basically, there are seven features here that are invalid, and the error itself, it shows the feature that's invalid, but it also shows the error itself. So if you look at the attribution table, so right click on the layer. And if you go to open attribution table, so ignore the question marks. I think it's because it couldn't properly encode Korean. But so basically, these are the features that are okay. But if you go to the invalid output, you can always open attribute table, and then it will show the error itself. So it's self-intersection errors. By the way, if a nice tip is if you want to just look at the open attribute table, you can choose the layer, and if you press F6, it automatically shows the attribution table. So it's a neat trick if you want to open attribution table, but you're not bothered to go through right click. So it shows, like, for instance, if you like scroll here, so this feature itself has the problem, which has the invalid geometry, and the circle here, it shows which point the actual error has occurred. But basically, this isn't that important. What's important is trying to fix this. So how to fix it, you may ask? If you go to processing toolbox again and search for fixed geometries right here. So if you just press fix, you can see fixed geometries. What is self-intersection? Good question. I think I'll probably might not be able to. Oh, so he's actually answering it by himself. Yes. So there are basically other errors as well, other types of errors as well, but what's important is trying to fix it. You don't actually need to know what the errors mean, I think, from a person who's had little experience using GIS. I don't think like knowing the error itself is important. So fixed geometries, has everyone found it? Thank you, Arthur. So if you go into fixed geometries and select the layer which has the validity problem, repair methods, you just select structure, and if you run it, it will hang on, let me just, it will basically, so it looks the same, but the invalid geometry issue would have been fixed. To prove it, let's try the difference feature again, the geoprocessing tool again. So geoprocessing tools, from vector, click on difference. And so if you put base map again, but this time instead of base TID, put fixed geometries, hopefully, if you run it again, this time it actually calculates the difference. Yes. So if you check validity on it again, you'll notice that on the fixed geometry, you'll notice that there isn't any errors at all. And also you can see that the difference itself has managed to calculate the algorithm for difference. Everyone okay with this? Thank you. So that was for the check validity tip, basically, usually I don't even check validity itself. I just go straight to fixing geometries because it occurs quite often. I'm not sure for like other like information from other countries, but in my case, but like from data provided from Korean organizations, it occurs quite often, more than I would hope. So I just fix geometries straight away, even if there isn't any problems to begin with. So that's also a tip I hope you bear in mind later. And for the last tip, I always wanted to say patience is a virtue when analyzing in GIS. So GIS analysis, it can take time, from like several hours to even a few days if the data is large. So in class, up until last week, you would notice that the data sample itself is small. That's why it didn't take, so that's why it only took a few seconds for like, for instance, when we went through clipping, like it only took a few seconds. But in real research, the data sample, it's much larger. Like, for instance, when you uploaded it, you've noticed that even showing it up on, so even it took much longer for it to even show up. And like the features itself, when you open the attribution table, there was like 1.4 million. So it definitely takes a lot of time. So you need patience. And another, so regarding patience, I also wanted to say, like, whenever you're trying intersection or difference or whatever type of geoprocessing tool in GIS, when you run it, when you click run on it, there's a high chance that you might think the GIS program has froze, it crashed. But even so, what I wanted to tell you is don't close the program, even if you think it crashed. So a tip that Dr. Hong taught me is if you check your task manager, and for the CPU and the memory, it keeps changing, even though you think it crashed. If you check on it and it's changing, it means it's running. So don't like close it straight away because you thought it crashed. Just wait. Like I said, patience is a virtue. And another thing I wanted to say regarding patience is think various strategies. So what this means is, a rule of thumb, usually intersection, it takes, yes, thank you. So basically what I wanted to say is, intersection, it usually takes much longer than difference. So earlier I said that I crossed out intersection. So basically when I tried to intersect between agricultural promotion areas and the areas which are not affected by regulation, basically it took around 3 or 4 days to complete only 11% of the total process of intersection. So obviously it's very infeasible to wait almost 2 weeks for a single process. But what I did instead was basically the base map itself, it's the entire Korean land region area. So obviously if you intersect it with the agricultural promotion areas, it will come out as the agricultural promotion areas because all of it is inside the base map. So what I did instead was I got the agricultural promotion area layer and I differenced it through all the 20 plus regulation layers, and it took way less time. So it still took a few days to fully do all like 20 plus differences, but still it took much shorter time compared to the intersection geoprocessing tool. So whenever you're trying to analyze and like trying to use intersection, use difference, I think you should always think various strategies, because even though you might think that you're getting to the same results, like it will like differ on how long it will take